The future does not belong to globalists. The future belongs to patriots.
We talk about the deep state, we talk about the globalists, inflation versus deflation.
Well, I mean,
Here at Mar-a-Lago.
I'm baffled that this isn't front page news.
Do you guys support a specific political party, or do you dislike both of them?
Oh, it worked like a charm on you guys.
Let's go, Brandon.
What's up, guys? Good evening. Happy Friday. I think we're on like episode 50 now or something. Shit, I lost count a few days ago. Greetings to all you who are joining us fresh off watching Unusual Suspects. Good episode today. So much to talk about. Like I said, I always say this. I'm very happy to be doing this every single day because like the news cycle is just developing at like a rapid freaking pace right now. I mean, Anthony Fauci, Secret Service detail revoked. Couldn't be happy about that. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Maybe some of you are upset about it, but you know what this reminds me of? Who's seen Breaking Bad before? Like, I think most of you probably seen Breaking Bad. Remember at the end of it when, you know, he's dying and he wants to find a way to get the money to his family, and he goes to those the people he used to work with, the people who kind of screwed him over, and says to them like, hey, you have to give this money to my family, distribute it to them for the rest of their life. And they're like, what are you talking about? We're not going to do that. You're a criminal. We're not like going to do anything you say. He's like, so okay. And he hired these two guys to just like shine lasers at them, right? And he said, I've hired two of the best assassins in the world, and they're going to make sure you do this for the rest of your life, blah, blah, blah. So basically the concept of like making somebody live in fear. So, I mean, this is almost like a fate worse than prison for Fauci, because I mean, maybe he could afford to pay his own security, but like at the very least, he's going to live in fear for the rest of his life because he's like probably one of the most unpopular guys out there. And if you didn't see the video of Trump talking about this today, epic. Here, I'm going to show this to you. Let me pull this up right now.
But you can't have a security detail for the rest of your life because you work for government. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Do you feel partially responsible if something were to happen to, say, Dr. Fauci or John Bolton?
No. You know, they all made a lot of money. They can hire their own security, too. All the people you're talking about, they can go out. I can give them some good numbers of very good security people. They can hire their own security. They all made a lot of money. Fauci made a lot of money. They all did. So if they, you know, felt that strongly, I think that certainly I would not take responsibility.
What's Fauci's net worth, by the way? Let's look that up. I know he was making famously like $400,000 a year, but let's see. Anthony Fauci net worth. If you want to guess real quick, put it in the chat. Oh, okay. He's got something. He is worth $11 million. Let's take a look at this. Who is responsible for Fauci being worth $11 million on a $400,000 a year salary? That's interesting. Let's see. Let's go New York Post. Dr. Anthony Fauci, wife Christine Grady, worth $11 million last year after he retired, report says. So why is that? Why is he worth $11 million? Get out of here, ad. Former White House chief medical advisor Anthony Fauci and his wife reported a net worth of $11 million after he retired as director of the NIH, infectious disease, blah, blah, blah. A National Institute of Health determination report obtained by Fox News showed Fauci, 81, Grady holding $11.5 million in assets, with Fauci responsible for the majority of those. The wealth expansion came from mutual fund investments. That's a story that we've heard before. The mutual fund investments. Awards, federal compensation increases, and royalties, the outlet reported. Though Fauci said he donates all of his royalties to charity. I'm sure it's not all that ethical when you really look into it. Fauci and Grady, who serve as the chief biophysicist at the NIH, also saw their net worth decline by 1.1 million in 2022. Yeah, because the whole market went down by like 20%. So that's actually not too bad. It's his wife, kind of manly looking. I don't know. As chief medical advisor to President Biden and a member of the White House coronavirus task force under former President Donald Trump, Fauci made more than both commanders in chief and was the highest paid federal employee during the pandemic. He exited the government service with a salary of roughly $481,000, according to Fox. NIH declined to comment when contacted by the Post. Grady did not immediately respond to a request for comment. An earlier investigation by the taxpayer watchdog, blah, 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 and from his wife saw a massive net worth of increase. Isn't that interesting? They had a net worth increase of $5 million between 2019 and 2021. Let's take a look at that. Let me see. I'm curious. I'm going to put it in the poll. I wonder what percentage of you guys are disappointed that Fauci had a security detail revoked. Like, could we have a 0% poll right here? Let's see. I'm putting this in the poll real quick, then we'll get into that article. All right. Poll question. Are you disappointed that Fauci lost his security detail? This poll will tell a lot about this group. Yes. No. Start poll. All right. Let's see. We still got this article. Okay. From 2019 to 2021, the net worth increased from 7.5 mil to 5 mil. How did that happen? Dr. Anthony Fauci and his wife's net worth grew by $5 million during the COVID-19 pandemic as thousands of U.S. residents struggled financially. According to a government spending watchdog group, the combined wealth of the 81-year-old retiring director of the NIH in infectious disease and his wife, his biochemist wife, their net worth soared from 7.5 mil to 12.6 mil at the end of 2021. According to a report from the nonprofit Open the Books, quote, despite becoming a figure of controversy, the system has rewarded Fauci handsomely, the group CEO said. While Dr. Fauci has been a government bureaucrat for more than 55 years, his household net worth skyrocketed during the pandemic. The couple's wealth boost was due in part to major salary increases. Yeah. Okay. Go from 300 to 400,000 a year. Your net worth's not increasing from 7 million to 12 million or 13 million, whatever it was. Quote, Fauci's soaring net worth was based on career and salary spiking, lucrative cash prizes awarded by nonprofit. There it is. Lucrative cash prizes awarded by nonprofit organizations around the world. And an ever larger investment portfolio. As Yurzinski said, he is the top paid federal employee. His first golden parachute retirement pension is the largest in federal history. He's accepting $1 million in prizes from nonprofits, he added. Last year, Fauci raked in lucrative awards from nonprofits, including $1 million from the Dan David Foundation for, quote, speaking truth to power and defending science. During the Trump administration, he kept $910,000 of that award, while roughly 10% went to scholarship winners, according to Open Books report. His total compensation, yep, 456, got it, whatever. Overall capital investment, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, you get the point. So, straight up, NGOs gave him millions of dollars while the pandemic was going on. What kind of nasty stuff do you think we'd find if we cracked open the books on that? So, I guess the pardon covers that, amongst other things. I don't know. What do you guys think of this? Let's see what the poll is saying here. Wow. 48 people voted. 8% of you are disappointed. Okay, tell me why. That creates fun, interesting conversation. Tell me why you're disappointed. What is it? That'd be about 4 or 5 of you. For the people who are disappointed, unless you're trolling, tell me why you're disappointed that Fauci lost his security detail. Let's take a look at this crazy chat group. See who's in here. Who was in the house tonight? I see Steve P in the house. I see Tail Boo in the house. You're talking a little shit before and unusual. It's okay. Jonathan Upperman, my man. I saw you in the chat before. TRC, President Trump, don't borrow. Canada, no money. Worst case scenario, increased tariffs. I know. One of the 51st state, right? I heard Adam is going to be on the show tonight since he's staying over. Tail Boo, you're funny. Texas woman in the house. What is up? All right, let's see. Is anybody showing themselves who voted that they're happy that they're not happy that Fauci lost his security detail? Let's see. Is there anybody there who could give a compelling reason why what's his name, shouldn't have lost it? Mrs. D in the house. How are you doing? I'm doing great. TJC, Fauci made a lot of money off AIDS. You made a lot of money off COVID, that he needs to be serving jail time because he destroyed the world for a lot. Yep. Yeah, I know. Hopefully his unease from not having the luxury of having all the security, serves as jail time to a degree. Let's see. Remember hearing that he had like the biggest Secret Service detail or something? Fauci, biggest Secret Service detail. I remember seeing this at one point, I swear. Yeah, all these are freaking recent. Come on. So, yeah, here we go. The security detail for Fauci was a $15 million security detail after he retired. Let's see how they justify this. The head of America's response to the COVID-19 pandemic, Dr. Anthony Fauci, retired in 2022, but he still received a $15 million in Secret Service protection. Open the Books Deputy Public Police Editor Rachel O'Brien says that it is unclear why Fauci gets a private chauffeur and U.S. Marshal security detail. Is that all they got? Okay, yep. I mean, it's just as unclear as it was before I read this article. So, not exactly crushing it. Keye. All right, let's see what the Daily Mail's got. What is this $15 million? What does $15 million get you in security details? Is it a couple guys? Is it a whole squad? The government's former top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, was given a whopping $15 million worth of private security after retirement. Dr. Fauci headed the blah, blah, blah. For the chauffeur, same thing as the other article. The former official has been subject to death threats since the start of the pandemic and frequent public criticism, which he and other officials argue merited heightened security. When Dr. Fauci retired, he was the highest paid public servant on the books of the. Yep, we got that since retiring. Just want to see what this security detail looks like if they talk about it. The doctor had a target on his back since the onset of 2020. Open books. It's unclear how unusual the arrangement between the Health and Human Services and the U.S. Marshal Service may be. We could find no other cases of a former federal employee receiving this level of protection. So, I mean, there you go. Like, at the end of the day, good news is that he's not going to have that level of protection because he can't afford it. Like, his entire net worth is less than his security protection cost in a given year. Man, that is so great. And then Mike Pompeo lost his security detail. John Bolton lost his security detail. So, I don't know about you. I'm happy about this. What does this poll say now? The polls, okay. 7% says they're upset or disappointed that Fauci lost his security details. So that is, all right, now it's on to 6%. 77 people voted. So let's see. Who are you guys? Do you have a compelling reason why you're upset that he lost his detail? Anything good? Condom dog. Fauci funded gain of function research. He's guilty. Yep, I know. Zilzilla, exactly. It's not their money. It's the unknown money that matters. Yep. Fauci is short and ugly himself. I doubt he could have pulled anything great looking. Yep, that too. All right, his manly looking wife. Get his bitch with the AIDS vaccine. Is Humberto the one trolling the vote? Humberto's MIA tonight. Misty says, I'm hanging out for the first time with my baby girl. It's only for 3 hours for my best friend's pre-wedding brunch, but I miss her already. Aw. Yeah, it'll be okay, Miss D. That's sweet, though. Zilzil says 20 million security detail. We are paying for it. Yeah, unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. Wasn't right when try pulling security. It wasn't right when they tried pulling Trump's. Oh, yeah. No, exactly. Like they're them running around with a bunch of chicks guarding them. King Yeti. You dirty, dirty bastard. You trolled the poll. Okay, so now we only have 6 suspects for the people who either trolled the poll or think that. We need to like attract some liberals into this chat room. It's funny. I mean, love you guys. Like I've never seen such a nice chat. Like that's like everybody's so friendly. Like even unusual suspects gets trolled more than this chat. It's so funny. All right. Still don't see anybody giving a reason why they were upset about Fauci's detail getting taken away. So let's move on to the next one. The next one is, let's see, where do we go here? All right, so this is kind of crazy. So MLK and JFK's families were upset about the declassifying of the documents. So I'm starting to hear some pretty sick, twisted shit about MLK, by the way. So let's take a look at this. And by the way, JFK's family, the shit that they're saying, like JFK is probably rolling over in his grave at what his family's become. Like aside from RFK, it's crazy. Crazy. All right, so the King family reacts to Trump's order to release MLK assassination records. So here's what they said. The family of Martin Luther King has responded to the news of, oh, no thanks. The family of Martin Luther King has responded to the news of President Donald Trump's executive order to declassify the remaining federal records relating to King's assassination in Memphis, Tennessee, blah, blah, blah. Executive order, we know that. So the King family issued a statement through the Atlanta-based King Center Instagram account on Thursday night. Quote, today, our family has learned that President Trump has ordered the declassification of the remaining records pertaining to the assassinations of JFK, blah, blah, blah. Yep. So for us, the assassination of our father is deeply personal family loss that we have endured over the last 56 years, they added. Quote, we hope to be provided the opportunity to review the files as a family prior to the public release. Yeah. You know what I'm starting to hear about this? I'm starting to hear that, like, well, so we know he was like a big time womanizer, like had a bunch of girlfriends, whatever. Okay. Not shocking. We're starting to hear some gay stuff, though. And we're starting to hear that the FBI was like blackmailing him, telling him that he should off himself. So weird. The family is not taking any interviews until they receive more information about the release. King and RFK were assassinated, yep, 2 months apart. King was outside motel, and yeah, we got that. We got that. So not... there's always a possibility that something would slip through that would be a tiny tip of a much larger iceberg, revealing, said Larry J. Sabato, the director of University of Virginia Center for Politics and author of The Kennedy Half Century. Okay. And then the Kennedy family, here's what they're saying. Like this one's really crazy. I mean, do you guys think that they have the right to say, no, let us see it before the public sees it? Because, I mean, like, what's that going to do for you? Like, it's not like you could tell them to stop it. All right. JFK secret files released sparks a war in the Kennedy family. The Kennedy family is at war again, this time over the release of classified federal files on the assassination of President JFK. JFK's grandson, Jack Schulzberg, accused President Trump of using his grandfather as a political prop in an ex post made just after the president announced the declassification of the files. He says, quote, JFK conspiracy theories, the truth is much sadder than the myth. A tragedy to have happened, wrote Schulzberg, 32, who was known for his strange tweets in the past. Quote, it's not part of some great inevitable plan. Declassification is using JFK as a political prop when he's not here to fight back. There's nothing heroic about it. Man, what a little fucking turd. Like, both his grandfather, JFK, big time hero, and Trump, like the ultimate hero of our lifetime. I mean, I would have maybe felt silly saying that about him even a year ago. And like during his first presidency, I don't know if I'd give him a hero status. Like he definitely big time course corrector, but like right now, my God, he's like literally doing God's work. Think about the trajectory of where the world is going and where it's turned around to now. Like it's night and day. I hate when I see this stuff. Like Joe Kennedy, JFK's dad, like one of my favorite people in all of history. Like the coolest, most savage guy ever. Like who's heard of Joe Kennedy before and like how much of a badass he was? Like, you could probably make an argument that he was like more of a savage than Trump. I'm not talking about JFK. I'm talking about JFK's father, the one who built their wealth, like had a political career of his own, like did everything, like conquered the Hollywood industry. He helped FDR whenever he campaigned. Not that I'm a fan at all of FDR. I think he was terrible, but you know, just like he was super effective at anything he did. And he like single-handedly ran JFK's campaign. Like they went up against the machine and won, just like how Trump did. Obviously, Schulzenberg's cousin, RFK, opposed the claim and praised the president's move. I'm very grateful to President Trump. RFK told reporters referring to the upcoming release of the files, and he stood on Capitol Hill on Thursday preparing for his confirmation hearings. I think it's a great measure because we need to have more transparency in our government. And he's fulfilling his promise that the government will tell American people about everything. Oh, I just thought of a good poll question. I hear a lot of people talking about the Epstein files and 9/11 now. So let's end this poll. What are you more curious about, or what release do you want more? So what declassification do you want more? 9/11 or Epstein list? I think I know who's going to win, but curious. All right, where would we leave off? JFK warned that the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secrecy. When we decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweigh the dangers. Got cut off a little bit there. Here, I'll take it to this. So to continue RFK's tweets, pertinent far away the dangers which are cited to justify it. The 60-year-old strategy of lies and secrecy, disinformation, censorship, and defamation employed by intel officials to obscure and suppress troubling facts about JFK's assassination has provided the playbook for a series of subsequent crises. The MLK and RFK assassinations, Vietnam, 9/11, Iraq War, COVID, they have each accelerated the subversion of our exemplary democracy by the military, medical, industrial complex and pushed us farther down the road toward totalitarianism. Quote, a nation that does not trust its people is a nation that is afraid of its people. A government that withholds information is inherently fearful of its citizens' ability to make informed decisions and participate actively in democracy. Thank you, President Trump, for trusting American citizens and for taking the first step down the road towards reversing this disastrous trajectory. Amen to that, brother. 100%. So let's see. Is there anything pertinent left in this article? RFK Jr.'s previously clashed with Schlossberg and other members of the Kennedy dynasty, including over his anti-V-word stance. Schlossberg, Caroline Kennedy. Blech. JFK's daughter and RFK's cousin has also called skepticism about the candidate's V-word dangerous. Man, like, how freaking sad is? I mean, I guess it makes sense because that's what happens when you, like, I guess, grow up without a father who's giving you good insight and whatnot to life. Like, you kind of get potentially cooped up and brought along in a led astray in terms of like what's right and what's wrong. Schlossberg has also previously criticized his cousin on social media in outlandish posts, including him tearing his shirt, singing and adopting accents ranging from, oh, geez. What the hell happened to this family? Like, everybody in the Kennedy family sucks aside from RFK. Like, it's terrible. And they were giving him shit about supporting Trump and giving him shit about even being an independent. I mean, for God's sake. So, like, that's one of the saddest things out there when, like, a highly successful family gets ripped apart like that. David Smith can form his own damn security. Yeah. Not as good as before, but yeah, he could afford it. Miss D, you are the freaking best. Thank you so much. I love Miss D. She's the MVP of the chat. She's even better than I am by far. Reminding you guys to like and hit that subscribe button. Thank you, Miss D, for reminding everybody to do that. Steve said, I saw a report when they want to use AI and mRNA vaccines to cure cancer now, apparently. Yeah, so what's his name? Larry, what the hell? Not Larry Fink. Larry Ellison from Oracle. He came out and said that at a press conference with Trump the other day that they're going to have like cancer curing AI. Okay. But you've been allegedly hiding stuff that cures cancer for a decade. So why is it suddenly now something you're interested in doing? So long ago to be digging around all that must hurt the families. Yeah, I know, but still, like, we need to know if our government did some sick, twisted shit to these people, because, like, if they're doing that now and they were never exposed for it, then, like, of course they're still doing it. And, like, look at all the weird stuff where people are disappearing. I mean, like, thank God Trump has been able to, stay all right. But, like, just the J6 committee alone, like, the fact that the evidence of what they did has been destroyed and nobody's doing anything about it, that's not okay. And that's why I'm not super optimistic about what we might find or not find with the Kennedy stuff, because, like, you really think the Warren Commission left a ton of damning evidence out there to be found? And I asked today, I said on the show, I said, why is it that Mike Pompeo had a vested interest in this stuff not being disclosed? Sarah Thurman says, I feel like the victims from 9/11, their pain is technically, I feel the victims from 9/11, their pain is technically minus the first responders with cancer now, still important, but in the past, there could potentially be thousands still being human trafficked. Yep, that's a good point. Very good point. DP says, I was right outside the city when 9/11 happened. My father was working in Midtown. That day was crazy. Damn. I was 6 years old when 9/11 happened. That's crazy, Steve. No, I get it. The Epstein thing, like, there might still be people who are suffering from that. But I mean, somebody brought up on the show today that they would be suspicious of Trump if he doesn't release the Epstein list. Do you guys feel that way? Because one of the most interesting things I've heard about Trump is that he bought this boat that was, like, basically a blackmail boat, like a boat that was set up to, like, kind of do Epstein type of stuff, where there was, like, cameras in it and everything. I don't know. I never really went too deep into that, but that's a weird notion. Let's Let's see. All right, so we got to talk about Trump's trip to California. And I love how he's handling the situation, by the way, because people in California are like being held captive to bad policies. Like it's like a Stockholm syndrome type of thing where like they hate what's happening, but they just can't bring themselves to like garner the strength and self-reflection to pull themselves away from these toxic policies. So look what Trump is about to do to try to leverage the situation that ends up and make it end up being like a better, I guess, situation for the whole state. They're not going to vote differently. All right, Trump. Here we go. Here's the deal he's trying to make.
Funding to Los Angeles because of its sanctuary city policy.
I want to see two things in Los Angeles: voter ID, so that the people have a chance to vote, and I want to see the water be released and come down into Los Angeles and throughout the state. Those are the two things. After that, I will be the greatest president that California has ever seen. I want the water to come down and come down to Los Angeles and also go out to all the farmland that's barren and dry. You know, they have land that they say is the equivalent of the land in Iowa, which is about as good as there is anywhere on earth. The problem is it's artificial because they artificially stop the water from going onto the land. So I want two things. I want voter ID for the people of California, and they all want it. Right now, you don't have voter ID. People want to have voter identification. You want to have proof of citizenship. Ideally, you have one-day voting, but I just want voter ID as a start.
Boom.
And I want the water to be released, and they're going to get a lot of help from the U.S. Thank you very much. I'll see you in a little while. We'll see you at the site.
That's great. Isn't that freaking awesome? Now, I mean, here's the interesting question. Like, does Newsom cave on that? Because, you know, prior to these wildfires, it'd probably be the last thing Newsom would ever do, at least the voting part of it. But, like, I really don't know. And I'm somebody who knows, like, almost everything. And, like especially when I look into it. But I really don't know what the real reason is. Like, you know, they give the reason of the endangered Delta smeltfish for why they won't send water from the north to the south. Like they have the freaking water lines set up, right? Like they literally have water pipes that are set up to send water from the north to the south, but they dump 50% of it in the ocean for some reason. I still don't know. Maybe like just create artificial scarcity because the people who do own the water, like it makes it more profitable for them, or for the like top 1% of agriculture people, like the Resnicks, like it makes it more profitable for them to, you know, like for what they're doing if less people have water. But California, even though it already gives like a third of our agriculture to the United States, like it's so far beneath its potential of what it could do if it had enough water for its farmland. Like, oh my God, Trump talks about it all the time. Like there's these like giant, vast valleys of like just dead land that's dehydrated. But the areas that do get water, it's freaking glowing. So I don't know, does Newsom break on this? How's this going to go down? You think? Like, you think Newsom is desperate enough to get this money that he'll just cave on it? Like, this is fascinating. And then here is old Gavin greeting Trump as he arrives.
Most importantly, thank you for being here. It means a great deal to all of us, and not just the folks in Palisades, the folks in Altadena that were devastated.
Some high and dry, and now we're going to be taking a little tour with some of the people from the area. I appreciate the governor coming out and meeting me, Kevin. Thank you very much, and we'll be talking a little bit. We want to get it fixed. We want to get the problem fixed. And there'll be some ways, but it's like he got hit by a bomb, right?
Yeah.
Like he got hit by a bomb. Would you like to say?
Most importantly, thank you for being here. It means a great deal to all of us, and not just the folks in Palisades, the folks in Altadena that were devastated. We're going to need your support. We're going to need your help. You were there for us during COVID. I don't forget that. And I have all the expectations that we'll be able to work together to get this speedy recovery.
We will. We're going to get it done. tremendous numbers of lives have been affected. A lot of real estate's been affected. Nobody's ever probably seen anything like this. You can almost say since the Second World War, when you think of it. I mean, nothing like this has happened. And we're going to get it fixed. So we'll get it permanently fixed so it can't happen again. And again, we'll be talking a little bit later, and we'll get it worked out, okay?
I appreciate it, Mr. President.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So very nice, being politically correct. And Gavin's good at that, but like, this is like something where somebody's going to get. Well, not really. Trump has all the leverage here. He wants voter ID in California. He wants them to simply send water from the north to the south because there's plenty of water there. So is that chip worth it to Newsom to say no to that? Because, I mean, the water's no brainer. Like, even liberal people will say, like, oh, yeah, okay, like, fuck the fucking fish. We can never let this happen again. We need to make sure we have enough water here. So that's not even a political issue. That's just common sense for the water. But for the voting ID, I'm pretty sure that's like the most popular issue, like on both sides, where even Democrats are in favor of voting ID. Like, that's like an issue where you ask like the entire population, and it's less than 20% of people that are on the side of saying like that there shouldn't be voter ID. So this puts Newsom in a real tough position. Here, I'll put a poll up asking, do you guys think Newsom caves on that request? Let's take a look at what the poll is right now, by the way. So for the Epstein list, we got, let's see, what do we got? For the question of Epstein list versus 9/11, we got 59% Epstein list. Yeah, I'm not surprised about that. It's the more interesting thing today by a lot. So will Newsom cave on voter ID and water allocation? I'm just going to say voter ID. Will Newsom cave on voter ID to get federal money? That's really the interesting part of this. All right. Let me close out this last poll. Start this new one. Boom, here we go. All right. Will Newsom cave on voter ID to get federal funding? Because I don't know, I think of that as like a terrifying notion, him to not have like that chaos that always happens in the California elections. Let's see. I have this one I'm looking for. Man, I have so many clips from today. Here we go.
When people believe such misinformation, and I don't mean it in a malign sense, maybe the president just doesn't know that there's not a spigot that can be turned to solve all the water problems that he alleges exist that don't exist as it relates to the state water system here in Southern California.
So we're less than 24 hours away from his visit. You're saying you haven't had any contact with the White House at all?
Well, I haven't. I'm grateful, though, that he took our invitation to heart.
He's been a little busy.
And that he will be here tomorrow. It's my understanding. I look forward to being there on the tarmac to thank the president, welcome him, and we're making sure that all the resources he needs for a successful briefing are provided to him. There's no limit to the resources we'll provide for that briefing, and as I say, I'm grateful that he appears to be coming up.
So you plan on talking to him tomorrow?
Well, I certainly plan on being there at the tarmac, and look forward to continuing to work not just with him, the administration.
Asini Spirit says, what's your opinion on Pete Hegseth? They're voting for him right now. I am all in on Pete Hegseth. So here's the thing, like, I'm even to the point where I'm disappointed that Matt, how's his name? The former the former Florida congressman that was supposed to be the attorney general, Matt Gaetz. I'm even disappointed that he stepped up, because I think we need vicious, dedicated people in these positions, like especially Pete Hegseth, because like he knows exactly what the problem is in terms of like the rot in the military. Like even if you just let our military do its thing and like you get the rot out and it does its thing, boom, we're in a very powerful position. Like there's systematic rot in it right now with this artificial gender diversity push. So, and plus the fact that his crazy sister-in-law is the one behind this latest report. Like if if any Republicans vote against him, like their career is done. They're gonna get Liz Cheney'd. Would she lose by like 70 points in her? Like I don't know how she thought she was gonna survive politically by going against Trump. Like maybe she just feels safer being on the side of the deep state than on the side of Trump. But what a miscalculation. I mean, I'm sure her father told her to do that because he's a deep state lifer and probably said to her, oh yeah, every once in a while a rogue comes along, but the system takes care of them, chews them up, spits them out, like the guy named Kennedy, like a guy named Lincoln, like a guy named Reagan. But they badly underestimated the freaking like abnormal superhuman nature of Trump. Like there was a point in time like where it looked like a 0% chance. And, she jumped ship and she thought it was the safer bet to be on the side of trying to take Trump down. But she's ruined. Her political career's ruined. And I'm sure she'll still get like a Raytheon job or something, or like a nice cushy media job, even though those jobs are shriveling up and dying. But just the fact that like the Gates thing, like there's nothing strong around it, like the Hegseth thing, there's nothing strong around it to show that he did anything that was that crazy. I mean, yeah, sure, it's not good to cheat, and he cheated a shit ton. I think he got like every woman that he cheated with pregnant too, so not a good ethical thing or anything. But I don't give a shit about that when we're talking about somebody who's gonna run the military. Like he's super smart. He's a Christian, okay? He's in good shape. Like somebody who goes to Harvard and Princeton, super smart, somebody who signs up to join the military like the day after 9/11 when he's got a high paying job in finance. I think that's somebody who's a patriot. And like just the fact that he's been talking about this issue of like what's wrong with the military for the last, I don't know, 2 decades. I want somebody like that who's in there. I want somebody who's going to create radical change. So I'm all in on Pete Hegseth. Let's see what you guys think. The guy's fertile. Nothing wrong with that. That's right. That is, if you had to choose any word to describe Pete Hegseth, fertile would probably be the top word to describe him. And potent. Thank you, Texas woman. Chuck Ward said, second wife already refuted the SI out. Yeah, no, like the sister-in-law. Like, how crazy is that? Like, imagine, oh my God, I'd be pissed. Like, and imagine being that lady, Pete's ex-wife, where you're saying, no, that didn't happen. And your freaking sister-in-law is the one speaking on your behalf saying, like, no, it did happen. Trust me. She's just afraid to say it. Like, she was afraid for her life and she's afraid to speak out about it now. And the actual lady who she's saying this about is like, listen, bitch, I'm CCing my lawyer on this email. Stop freaking saying this, or I'm going to start pressing charges against you because like you have no idea what happened. And plus she's a liberal activist too, from what I've heard. So it's a crazy situation. And I think he's going to win. I know they're voting on it right now. Let's check what's going on with that. Pete Hegseth votes. Who are the weak ones, by the way? I know it was, what the hell was her name? The lady who ended up endorsing him like right after his hearing. She was the weak vote. Let's see. New York Times says, here, I'm pulling it up now. Live updates from the Senate vote. Hegseth for defense. With 2 GOP senators opposed, Pete Hegseth, President Trump's pick lead, can afford to lose only one more if he's confirmed. It's likely to be by the smallest margin that the post in modern times. I mean, real quick, by the way, isn't it disgusting that people like Lloyd Austin are able to get by without any opposition from the right? Like, why do we not give them a hard time if they're going to do this? So, live vote tally, 48 yes, 47 no. So, who are the ones that are holding out right now? Senator Mitch McConnell, Republican for Kennedy, just voted no. Senator Mitch McConnell voted no on Hegseth's confirmation 3 minutes ago. What? So if get out of here. Mitch McConnell voted no on Hegseth. What the fuck? So he's the third one to vote against him. All the Democrats also vote no. Well, here's the thing: is what's his name? Crazy guy, Fetterman. Fetterman might vote yes, right? He's crazy enough to do that. He wears freaking gym shorts the inauguration day. Excess supporters are at least going to need Vice President J.D. Vance to break the tie. Okay, easy, no problem. All told, quite extraordinary to see these kinds of rebuttal process during the vote. Senator Tom Tillis from North Carolina, has a key swing vote, says he'll vote to confirm Hegseth. Okay, good. Now we're getting farther back. So, yeah, that's what it is in live time right now. We need, I guess, basically one more, because like once you're at 50, of course Vance is going to vote to confirm it. Like, imagine if Vance said no. All right, so who has not voted yet? That's what I want to know. Who has not voted yet for Hegseth confirmation? Does it tell us who hasn't voted yet? Who are we waiting on? Okay, here we go. Let's see. Does this show us? Zoom out a bit. Unfreaking, like, these people, primary these people the fuck out of here. That's insane. Did Fetterman vote yet? Fetterman, where are you? Man, Fetterman voted no. Son of a bitch. All right, well, stay tuned. I guess we'll keep an eye on that. Oh, wait. Is it 50-50 right now? Wow, yeah, it's 50-50. Okay, so he won. So Vance is going to break the tie, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure we could say that Pete Hegseth is now confirmed as the Secretary of Defense, because it's 50-50. Vance is the tiebreaker. Vance is going to vote yes. Boom. Congratulations, Pete. Tell me if I'm missing something, guys, but that's it, right? Hell yeah. Let's freaking go. Let's freaking go. How did Tillis vote? I think Tillis voted yes. Let's see. Yep, Tillis voted yes. The only Republican rats are Susan Collins, Mitch McConnell, and Lisa Murkowski. Oh my God, how disgusting is Mitch McConnell? What the fuck? Like, there's anybody in the world, or in the Senate at least, that I think they have some sick, twisted blackmail shit on it. I think it's Mitch McConnell. And the fact that we let him be the Senate Majority Leader for over a decade. Like, I call the Republicans, and don't get me wrong, I'm talking about like the Republicans outside of Trump, the ones that like opposed him at first, like the traditional Republican Party in Congress. I'm talking about Congress here. I call them the cuck party, because it seems like they were set up literally to just kind of act like they were resisting and act like they were trying to oppose what the Democrats are doing and put up like a fake fight, but then just like sit back and ultimately watch the show as the Democrats just go to pound town on the country and do whatever they want. That's what the Republicans were before Trump. Tell me I'm wrong. Like, they never seemed like they were actually trying to be on the offensive and get things done. But like, guys, I'll tell you what, like, this is the happiest politics has ever made me in my life. Like, normally like my experience with politics is just like ugh, I want to throw up every time I look at it, even though like it's a big part of what I look at day to day, but like every day is happy and exciting now. Okay, so we could move on to bigger and better things now. So I haven't even watched this video yet. So the Catholic Church is coming out and criticizing what ICE is doing. Let's see, where is this thing? So I have a video that popped up on X of a Pope opposing. Is this the right one? Let me make sure this is the right one real quick. Bear with me. Where is it? Where is this video? Oh, I have to go to X for it. 1 second. Actually, here, I'll play this one while I find the other one. This is Tom Homan discussing what is happening with the Catholic Church and ICE.
Lying. They were destroying the country and they were lying. And they went against the oath that they gave. I want to ask one final question. The Pope this week said that it's a disgrace what we're now doing with this new government,
Pope,
deporting all of these people. We've got, obviously there's going to be a lot of media searching for the sad stories here, trying to turn public opinion against this operation. What's your message to the American people as you guys do this work?
Well, let me give a message to the Pope. I'm a lifelong Catholic. I was born Catholic. I've been through Catholic doctrine. He only concentrates on fixing the Catholic Church, first of all. He's got big problems. In the Vatican, they have a wall around the Vatican. And if you illegally enter the Vatican, the crime is serious. You'll be charged with a serious crime, be jailed.
Yeah.
So he can protect the Vatican where he lives. He can build a wall where he lives. Where American people are not allowed that? No. Securing the border saves lives. He needs to understand that when we secure the border, when less people come, less women get raped by the cartel, less children die in the river, less Americans die from fentanyl overdoses. He ought to stick to it. He ought to stick to the Catholic Church and fix that. That's a mess.
It's exactly
Amen.
Right. We did the details on the wall that's around the Vatican, and it's even nicer than Trump's wall. For as much as Trump likes his wall, the wall around the Vatican is really, really impressive.
Amen. I freaking love this guy. How great is Tom Homan? And this Pope, like, don't even get me started on this Pope. Like, I don't know how we let this guy get in. Like, I don't know. Like, I was raised a Catholic, but I don't know. I'm still not 100% clear on like the precise differences between Catholic and Christian. Aside from Catholics, I guess, are supposed to like have the Pope be the end all be all. It's definitely not the case for me. So I, am actively questioning like whether or not I fit more in the box of being a Catholic or being a Protestant. I don't know. That's a thing for another day. Tell me like what you guys think about that, or like who's Christian or who's Catholic in here, and what you guys think about all that. But what I know is I think that the Pope is despicable. I've seen him wearing a freaking rainbow LGBTQ cross. I've seen him like having all the wrong positions about everything. So Texas woman, let's see. I was raised Catholic. All I learned was to memorize prayers so I could have the wafer. So what are you now, Texas woman? Are you a Protestant? Careful, Cam. I know Cam and Humberto will got me. Yeah, I know Humberto will try to fight me about the Catholic stuff, but like I can't stick up for this Pope. Like, are you kidding me? And I don't know, the idea of somebody like telling you where you stand with God instead of God being the one to tell you where you stand with God, that's never sat right with me. And the fact that like the Pope has this power to do that, fuck that. Fuck that. Especially when you're having these political opinions. Get out of here with that shit. Like there's never been a day in my life where I didn't believe in God and didn't pray at some point during the day and feel like I was deeply connected with God and close and everything. But the whole concept of like religious shaming and like them telling you that like this is where you stand with God and I know better, like all that's gross to me. But I like the church community and I get the importance of it. So I mean, I'm trying to like decipher the place like where I fit in with that. So I don't know, is there a lot of Catholics in here? Is there a lot of Protestants in here? Where you guys stand with that? Yeah, 100% personal relationship with God. Exactly, Texas woman. I can't tell you how many times I said the mailman thing. 100%. Jonathan Nepperman says maybe we don't need middleman and priests and pastors. No, I agree. Like, see, like, so this is the role I think like a priest or pastor should play. Like, they should play like the role of just a community organizer, like somebody who can speak well and somebody who could, like, you know, bring a group together and stuff. But all this like shame and nonsense, disgusting. Speaking of Humberto just entered the premises, and I don't even think he knows what the Pope just did. You see what the Pope just did? The Pope started calling out Tom Homan for what he's doing with the illegal immigrants. I know. Like, it's got me wondering about the whole Catholicism versus Protestant stuff, and if, like, what's up with the Pope and everything. I know. But Tom Homan had an epic response though, so you gotta check that out. Yeah, we're not a fan of this Pope. We need to get a based Pope in there. Like, we need like a Trump version of a Pope. I hope so. But anyway, so I'm loving what Tom Homan's doing. Did you guys? I forgot to show this video last night of you guys might have seen this already, but it's definitely worth showing if you haven't seen it yet. So this is the latest on what's going on with the illegal immigrant stuff. Let's see, where is this?
Going back to Haiti. One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti. ICE says he's a gang member with 17 criminal convictions in recent years.
Trump, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
ICE Boston quickly takes down its next targets, including this illegal alien from Brazil who has an Interpol red notice for armed robbery. This Salvadoran illegal alien charged locally with rape and released by a sanctuary jurisdiction.
Señor, ¿cómo se llama?
And this Dominican illegal alien charged with assault with a deadly weapon and heroin trafficking. Officers also arrested this Guatemalan MS-13 gang member facing gun charges. ICE says he was released from local custody just the day before. Their detainer request was ignored because of sanctuary policies. And in a sign of shifting priorities with the new Trump administration, this man, who was in the same apartment as the target, was also arrested after ICE determined he's also in the U.S. illegally. This is what ICE calls collateral.
So you guys got your main target just now, but you got somebody else. What just happened?
So our main target was released by a sanctuary jurisdiction, not honoring a detainer. That person was released back into the community, and when we went to go find him, he's with somebody else who was previously removed from the United States. So he's going to go today too.
And that is exactly what Border Czar Tom Homan has warned would happen.
When we find the bad guy, he's probably with others that are in the United States illegally. They may not be a criminal priority, but we're not walking away from them.
ICE Boston says they will continue to go into sanctuary jurisdictions and do their job.
Today was a good day. Today we took several significant public safety threats out of
No, Steve, I'm not old enough to remember that.
Unfortunately, a lot were released by sanctuary policies, but we're here to tell the Commonwealth
Correct.
and the rest of the country that we're going to find them whether they're released or not.
And guys, shortly after we finished filming, ICE Boston told us they arrested 2 more targets in other parts of town away from our cameras. One of those targets is a previously deported Honduran illegal alien who was arrested for raping a woman while putting a gun in her mouth. The other target they got is a Haitian man who first flew into the United States in 2023 as part of President Biden's controversial migrant flights mass parole program. Well, they just picked him up yesterday because he's been arrested locally for sexual assault. We'll send it back to you.
Bill Malhusian, it was fascinating to watch all of that. I think I was just saying to Bill, this is terrible for Joe Biden and the legacy that he tried to leave behind. A question from me, how soon will they actually be leaving the country? Does that take a long time?
It depends what country they're from. If they're from cooperable countries like El Salvador, Guatemala, countries like that, it can be quick. It can be within days or weeks. If it's countries that are harder to deport, countries that don't cooperate with the U.S. as much, it can go into a process of months. But the Trump administration is changing policies with something called expedited removal. The bottom line is people at home don't need to understand all the policies. The Trump administration is just going to work as fast as they can to get all the people you just saw.
Boom. All we need. Then you got people like this guy here. So you got Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, who his citizens hate him, by the way. Like, he's a black mayor, but black citizens like despise him. Like, there's infinite amounts of city hall meetings where they're just ripping into him, saying like, what the hell is wrong with you? You promised us this, this, and that, and then you're giving money, taxpayer money, to these illegal immigrants. You're giving them free housing, free food, and you've never given us that. What the hell is this? So let's see. Where's this video? I think this is it. Here we go.
Brandon Johnson sitting down for a one-on-one interview today, talking about what the city is doing. And he made it clear that Chicago will not be intimidated by any threats of action from the Trump administration, even ones that could land him or the city in court. Mayor Brandon Johnson ready for wherever the battle may go over the rights of undocumented immigrants who are just minding their own business and going about their lives. What do you make of the fact that there have been no raids so far?
Well, first of all, let me just reaffirm our position as clearly as I possibly can, that we will always remain a welcoming and sanctuary space.
The mayor said he has no intelligence on when any raids by ICE agents could happen or how many people might be targeted, although sources have told ABC7 Homeland Security is going after dozens of people here in Chicago.
Let's go, Pete.
The Trump DOJ seems to now have taken off the gloves by saying that they will pursue deportation targets in schools and churches. What is your response?
And I find that to be quite frank with you, I find that to be unconscionable and reprehensible.
A Department of Justice memo this week said those who impede immigration enforcement could be subject to prosecution. Do you believe that you could be targeted because of Chicago's welcoming city ordinance?
Well, look, my main focus is protecting the residents and the people of the city of Chicago. You know, the threats that are coming from this current administration are threats that we're not intimidated by.
U.S. attorneys' offices across the country have also been directed to review sanctuary laws and be prepared to challenge them in court if warranted. How is the city preparing to defend the welcoming city ordinance?
Yeah, so I've directed my corporate counsel to look at all of the executive orders that are coming from the current administration, and we will have a comprehensive response to each of those executive orders.
Man, I thought we were gonna like at least have a slight upgrade when we got rid of Beetlejuice. Like, remember Crazy Lady Beetlejuice, the old Chicago mayor? But like, this guy sucks. I mean, have you seen some of these town hall meetings where they're just ripping into this guy? Like, people despise him, and he still has the audacity to speak like this. Now, here, check this out. You got people like teachers and priests and stuff advising these people on how to evade law enforcement. All right, let me share the screen right quick. Wow, Steph says, my mom is Jewish, my dad's Christian. I ended up Christian, non-denominational. So is that like a back and forth thing where they're both kind of like giving you a pitch on why you should do one or the other? Or was it kind of clear cut from the beginning that you were going to choose one? That's interesting. Now here is this crazy video. Well, we can get that answer.
ICE in Chicago with my students.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I've gotten a whole bunch of messages from people like, and I'm so appreciative of you. But baby, it would never. You think I'd be scared of you trying to come up in my school? You don't think I already have a plan and a backup plan and 56 doors in the building and 17 routes on how to get to each one? And backup on backup on backup of contacts to make sure that their parents aren't the ones showing up. I mean, no offense, the district can give us training on what we're supposed to do over and over and over again, and they have, by the way. But I got my own plan.
That laugh. Oh.
Because there's no way. There's no way. You ever touch one of my kids? Ever. never touch one of my students, and never hello, God. Someone needs to talk to you, because that's who you're going to talk to first before you ever touch one of my kids. Because I don't play about mine and never have. And if you've been around for a while, you know that. Baby, I've written a manifesto up here on what I would do.
All right, so she asked God for something. This is what I'm asking for God. Like, please, please, please. When Tom Homan breaks into this lady's school and rounds up the migrants that are running around there, please catch us on camera. I want to see this lady's face when they bust in there and do exactly what she's saying is not going to happen, because apparently she has like the Underground Railroad at her fucking school. This is I can assure you that this lady's childless and doesn't have a husband, because I mean, look at her. Imagine fucking living with that. So she's probably got all these little Jose's and whatnot that she's like acts like they're her kids. I mean, I saw a lady in the news get like lose her job for this because she was saying like don't step up on me because I'll like XYZ threats and whatnot, and she gets fired for it. Man, there's a lot of funny videos like this on here. People flipping out about the freaking like the unthinkable thing of taking illegal immigrants out. So there's that, and then I saved a bunch of these. Oh, Ilhan Omar said some wild shit. Check this out. Oh. Ilhan Omar.
It is hard to imagine anything more un-American than that. The Trump administration's immigration policy is a threat to immigrants like criminals. America is too great
What'd she
to
say?
fall prey to Donald Trump's anti-immigrant agenda. We need to restore basic humanity to our immigration system, and that starts with repealing the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 with Our Neighbors Not Enemies Act.
Deport this
Together,
lady.
we will end this xenophobic law once and for all. It is hard to imagine anything more un-American.
It's hard to imagine anything more un-American than you being in Congress. It's almost like you gotta like force the annoying stuff in because there's so much good news. We need a little bit of like annoying shit. Oh, this one was funny. So this lady is just bawling her eyes out because she had a sweet environmental justice gig, but now that's going away.
Okay. So today I was supposed to be leading a training about environmental justice for a national agency, but it was canceled an hour before it started. Why? Well, because the new federal guidelines from the Trump administration ban not only DEI trainings, but also any trainings or programs about environmental justice.
Good.
And they're not stopping there.
Good.
These policies go further, rolling back protections for our water, land, opening the floodgates to drilling, silencing those that are fighting for justice in any form.
Love it.
And to make matters worse, they're demanding a list of contractors like me who provide DEI and environmental justice trainings. And to be honest, it's terrifying.
This makes me so happy. Makes me so freaking happy. I could do these things all day, but I still have what's this one? Oh, all right, let's watch this one quick.
ICE can now raid classrooms, and as a high school teacher, I just want to make one thing clear. If someone tries to come in my classroom and take one of my students, one of us isn't leaving the classroom.
Probably you.
Play with me. ICE can now raid classrooms, and as a high school,
Why do these people think they can just say whatever they want? They're threatening law enforcement. What the hell do they think's gonna happen? Oh man. President Trump and Karen Bass spar. Oh, I didn't see this before. President Trump and Karen Bass spar on live TV. Trump tells her stop talking. Yo, I did not see this before. Let's go. Shh.
We're bringing our city departments together so that people don't get caught in the loop of going from one room to the next.
I'm so
we
excited.
want them all to be in the same room so that you can get busy rebuilding ASAP. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And we will clear the lots. Absolutely. In the city and in the county. We are working together.
Doesn't get
Both
in there.
levels of government are working in unity.
Months? Is it like we that's the answer that we got, and that's what we're all hanging on?
Yes.
So if you're telling us now faster, is it 6 months? Is it, I mean, all of our lives, rents, all this stuff is weighing on this.
6 months is no good.
That's right,
And the
Trump.
number one thing that we are going to do immediately, and you will see this happen, is to clear out the debris. And you know, we're concerned right now over the weekend because of the potential rain, but we are going to move as fast as we can, but we want you to be safe, and we want you to be back in your homes immediately.
But the people are willing to clean out their own debris. It doesn't
Yes,
cost
and
a
they
lot.
can,
You
and
should
they are
let them
able
do
to-
it because
No, no,
by the
they
time you
can do
hire
that.
contractors, it's
Right.
going to be 2 years.
If a family,
People are willing to get a dumpster and do it themselves and clean it out.
and they can
There's
do
not that much left. It's all incinerated.
That's right.
And, you know, it's just going to take a long time if you do. You can do some of it, but a lot of these people, I know that guy right there that's talking. I know my people. You'll be on that thing tonight, throwing the stuff away, and your site it'll look perfect within 24 hours. And that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to wait around for 7 months till the city hires some demolition contract
If
that's going to
individuals
charge him
want to build-
$25,000 to do his lot. I think you
love
have
this
to.
guy.
You have emergency powers just like I do, and I'm exercising my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
I did exercise them.
Because I looked,
signed
I
an
mean, you have a
emergency
very powerful
declaration.
emergency power, and you
Yes.
can do everything within 24 hours.
Yes. And if individuals want to clear out their property, they can. Well, yes, but you know that you will be able to go back soon.
Mr. President.
We think within a week.
That's a long time, a week. I'll be honest. To
Yep.
me, everyone's standing in front of their house. They want to go to work, and they're not allowed to do it.
And the most important
week
thing
is
is
a
for
long
people to
time.
be safe.
Oh, give me
They're
a break.
safe. They're safe. You know what? They're not safe. They're not safe now. They're going to be much safer. A week is actually a long time, the way I look at
Are
it.
they messing with his
I
mic?
watched hundreds of people standing in front of their lots, and they're not allowed to go in. It's all burned. It's gone. It's done. Nothing's going to happen to it. It's not going to burn anymore. There's nothing to burn. There's almost nothing to burn. And they want to go in. The people are all over the place. They're standing, and I say, why aren't you going in? We're trying to get a permit, and the permit's going to take them. Everybody said 18 months. You said 18 months. You said 18 months.
Last night.
And that was last night. On that.
We can't even see our homes right now. We are blocked from entering our streets.
Right.
We can't even, this is our first time we saw our house was yesterday.
I want to watch this whole thing. Where do I watch this whole thing? Man, how freaking good does it feel? Because like, that's the bullshit you have to put up with. Is like, why is this lady getting in the way of this? And how do I watch more of this freaking press conference? Let's see. Trump. That was 1 hour ago. Trump and Karen Bass. I want to see this whole freaking thing. Let's see, is this it? 325. 3 seconds. Come on, give me this whole thing.
One thing that we are going to do immediately, and you will see this happen, is to clear out the debris. And you know, we're concerned
Yeah,
right
so we
now over
saw
the
it.
weekend because of the potential rain, but we are going to move as fast as we can, but we want you to be safe. And we want you to be back in your homes immediately.
But the people are willing to clean out their own debris. It doesn't
Yes,
cost
and
a
they
lot.
can.
You
and
should
they are
let them
able
do
to-
it because
No, no,
by the
they
time you
can do
hire
that.
contractors, it's
Right.
going to be 2 years.
Yeah, we saw this already. Man, where's this full thing? Trump, Karen Bass, full. Come on, where's this full freaking thing? 4 minutes.
You know, you're only as good as the weakest one. So if you have one that's going to hold you up, but the others are going to give it to you in 24 hours, it's not going to help you very much. So they have to work on that. It's what everybody said.
Well, and let me just tell you that we are going to do everything we can, slashing regulations, expediting everything so that people can begin the process right away. You know, we have the Disaster Recovery Center on Pico and Westwood. We have building and safety there. People are already contacting the local agencies. We're bringing our city departments together so that people don't get caught in the loop of going from one room to the next. We want them all to be in the same room so that you can get busy rebuilding ASAP. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And we will clear the lots. Absolutely. In the city and in the county. We are working together. Both levels of government are working in unity. Yes.
I think that's where we left off before.
6 months is no good.
And the number one thing that we are going to do immediately, and you will see this happen, is to clear out the debris. And you know, we're concerned right now over the weekend because of the...
Yep. Come on. Where's this full thing? Sorry, I'm OCD. I need to find this thing. Maybe it's not all out yet. Well, I'll post that if I find more of it later. I think that's all we got for now.
People don't get caught in the loop. If a family...
People are willing to get a dumpster and do it themselves and clean it out.
And they can...
There's not that much left. It's all incinerated.
Yep, saw that.
So you're going to see us propose disaster relief items which will prevent it or at least mitigate it from happening again. So you're going to see us proposing both of those.
Like water. Little things like water. You know, the party of common sense. See, we're the party of common sense. You're not, you know.
Yes, sir.
We like water to put out fires. It's really quite efficient. All right.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President. Mr. Relief.
All right, I found a longer one.
Which will prevent
Found a longer one on YouTube. Let's see how this works out. Found a 6-minute one. Guys, I freaking love this. I'm so entertained when Trump speaks with fucking bureaucrats. It's so refreshing. All right, here we go. YouTube.
With you on tariffs, but how about no tariffs on building materials for the next 3 years?
We'll take a look at that, actually.
Mr. President.
Take a look. Mayor, please.
Yes. First of all, let me just take the opportunity to officially welcome you to Los Angeles. Really appreciate you coming, and especially you come just a few days after your inauguration. So I want you to know that your presence here is very much appreciated. Let me also say that I know you had an opportunity to see the devastation. You've seen the extreme loss, the grief that people are going through here. And we are 100% committed to getting this neighborhood rebuilt again. You mentioned a couple of things in terms of us expediting. So I signed executive directives right away so that we could cut the red tape. We could get people back building as fast as possible. And we're going to continue doing that.
Mayor, the one thing is they are saying they will not be allowed to start for 18 months.
No, that will not be the case.
Okay, I just hope
that
you're
will
right.
not, you can hold me to it.
There's 4 groups said that.
No.
That would be, they should be able to do it. They should be able to start tonight.
That will not be the case. You know, first
Wow.
we have to take care to make sure that there's not getting rid of the hazardous waste, cleaning things up so that people can start right away. And just like you said, if somebody had their house was destroyed and they're going to rebuild essentially the same, maybe a little bit longer, a little bit higher, they
Totally
really
agree.
shouldn't have to go through much of a process. So I want you to know that we are expediting that.
I
We
know, Bonnie's so
absolutely
good.
need your help. We need the federal help. You're a
You got
builder.
it. I told you. You will have no permit problem. There will be 0 delay. And as far as I'm concerned, you already have the permits.
And the resource.
I am more worried because I met at least 8 groups of homeowners, and I'm much more worried about the fact that they said it's 18 months exactly, and they were devastated. They want to start now. They want to start removing things. They're not allowed to do it now. And you mentioned hazardous waste. Well, the hazardous waste. What's hazardous waste? I mean, you're going to have to define that. We're going to go through a whole series of questions on determining what's hazardous.
Nope.
I just think you have to allow the people to go on their site and start the process tonight.
And we will.
Okay, good.
You can come back and check.
Last night, 18 months. So if that's not the answer, Mayor Bass, what is the answer? Because that's what we were all told last night.
Well, and let me just tell you that we are going to do everything we can, slashing regulations, expediting everything so that people can begin the process right away. You know, we have the Disaster Recovery Center on Pico and Westwood. We have building and safety there. People are already contacting the local agencies. We're bringing our city departments together so that people don't get caught in the loop of going from one room to the next.
All right, so that's what we saw already. Yeah, I'm trying to find the hidden gems here. Because I feel like this is probably like a, I don't know, what, 30-minute thing? Oh, is this it?
Love is a battlefield is
Trump confronts Democrats over wildfires. Oh, yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Shit, I was about to make this a...
Unfortunately, it's a very sad...
We might be here a while, guys.
But what makes you feel good is I met so many of the homeowners, and every one of them, a lot of them, and every one of them said to me they want to rebuild. I said, will you go elsewhere? No. It wasn't even like a question. They love the area. They love the people. It's like a family. It's incredible, actually, when you see some things like that. We just left North Carolina, and we had just a similar type of disaster. It was water instead of fire, but boy, that water did damage like I've never seen before. And then you come here and you see this. But the people are so amazing, and your fire department was so beautiful. Every one of us in perfect physical shape. I said, what do you guys do? They have very high standards, I can tell you. And we took pictures with all of them, but very nicely, they gave us a little helmet. And I said, you wear this, huh? Is this real? And they said, yeah. I said, it's awfully heavy. You have to be very strong to wear that. But that's the original, right? So it's pretty good. But I just want to thank everybody. We're going to be with you. Your governor met us at the plane, and we had a good talk, very, very positive talk. We have to work together to get this really worked out. I don't think you can realize how rough it is, how devastating it is until you see it. I didn't realize. I mean, I saw a lot of bad things on television, but the extent of it, the size of it, we flew over it in a helicopter. We flew to a few of the areas, and
there's gold in
devastation.
here.
It's really an incineration. Even some of the chimneys came down. Okay, when you have the chimneys come down, you know that's pretty hot stuff, and a lot of them were down. That was a bad sign too.
You probably didn't know that.
But I just want to commiserate, and we're going to celebrate. We'll be back to celebrate one day soon. I hope soon. The federal government standing behind you, 100%. The First Lady and I are in California to express a great love for the people of California. I've had great support always in California. We did very well recently, as you know, relatively speaking, at least I can say. And it's been amazing. I have property in California, not too far away, actually, right up the road in Palos Verdes, a big property. And I've always loved it. I've always loved being here. But we have to grieve for the 28 Californians who have tragically perished. And sadly, you're going to be finding more. And that's going to be very sad because I know
cut regulation lumber.
When you look at that kind of incineration, you know what's going to happen. You're going to find some more. But with all that we've gone through, I watched your firefighters, and they were really fighting at a big disadvantage. I got to know a lot of them just now, and they're incredible people.
I put it on
So
1.5.
happy. They were saying, congratulations, sir.
Too much?
About country, maybe
An hour-long
before
video.
This location that they all love. But I'm pleased to be joined by many of the great California leaders, both
125.
Democrat
Handle that.
and Republican. And it's an honor to meet some of you I didn't know, but I know every one of you by name. LA County Supervisor Catherine Barger. Thank you, Catherine, very much.
This is like the
Mayor Karen Bass.
of bureaucracy.
Thank you, Karen. It's nice to meet you. Representatives Jay Obernolte.
I don't see him
Where's Jay?
start getting into
Jay,
it.
hi, Jay. It's been a tough period, Jay, right? And we're gonna have a big celebration soon. We're gonna come back and
All right, here we go.
on their abortion policy.
Oh,
For 20, and I'm hoping
this guy's a snake.
And if you have a statement to make, honor to get 150 years is going to be a very big deal. So I'll be able to celebrate the Olympics, the World Cup, and the 250 years is going to be a very big
Trump
deal.
just been riffing
We
for
have the
14
three
minutes
biggest there
straight.
are, and it was an honor to get. If you have any questions, please let
Here we
me
go.
know. And if you have a statement to make, I'd love to have politically, if you'd like to make a statement. Brad, go ahead.
There we go.
County.
Mr. President, thank you
Sure,
for coming
thank you, Brett.
to the 32nd Congressional District and
Thank you.
making feel.
This
Most
guy
people
sucks.
don't have adequate insurance because they couldn't get it. So one company dropped 1,600 policies just in the last 6 months. We've got 16 times as much property damage here as from Hawaii. And I'm hoping that we get at least 16 times the federal appropriation for the CDBG program that helps people rebuild. And I know you've talked about policies of California that you're not a fan of, but I've been in Congress for 28 years. I really disagree with Louisiana on their abortion policy. I disagree with them on their campaign finance policy. I disagree with North Dakota on their gun policy. And I would never turn to somebody from Louisiana and say, you keep living on your cousin's couch, because we're not going to help you rebuild until Louisiana agrees with me on a woman's right to choose. So I'm hoping that we can get
It's not the
these funds
issue.
and that we don't punish individuals for the policies of their state. You can disagree with them, and I think you've got some ideas. I look forward to us listening. Also on tariffs, I often agree with you on tariffs, but how about no tariffs on building materials for the next 3 years?
We'll take a look at that, actually.
Mr. President.
Mayor, please.
Yes. First of all, let me just take the opportunity to officially welcome you to Los Angeles. Really appreciate your presence here. Is extreme loss, the grief that people are going to be built again.
Saw this.
And we're going to. That will not be the case.
Okay, I just hope you're right. Saying they will not be allowed to start for 18 months.
No, that will not be the case.
Okay, I just hope
That
you're
will
right.
not. You can hold me to it.
This 4 groups said that.
No.
That would be, they should
No,
be able
that-
to do it. They should be able to start tonight.
That will not be the case. You know, first we have to take care of, to make sure that there's not getting rid of the hazardous waste, cleaning things up so that people can start right away. And just like you said, if somebody had their house was destroyed and they're going to rebuild essentially the same, maybe a little bit longer, a little bit higher, they really shouldn't have to go through much of a process. So I want you to know that we are expediting that. We absolutely need your help. We need the federal help. You're a
You got it.
builder.
I told you. You will have no permit problem. There will be 0 delay. And as far as I'm concerned, you already have the permits.
And the resource.
I am more worried because I met at least 8 groups of homeowners, and I'm much more worried about the fact that they said it's 18 months exactly, and they were devastated. They want to start now. They want to start removing things. They're not allowed to do it now. And you mentioned hazardous waste. Well, the hazardous waste. What's hazardous waste? I mean, you're going to have to define that. We're going to go through a whole series of questions on determining what's hazardous.
Nope.
I just think you have to allow the people to go on their site and start the process tonight.
And we will.
Okay, good.
You can come back and check.
Very
Mr. President?
important. Yes.
I'm Congressmember Judy Chu, and I represent the areas of Altadena and Pasadena.
Yes.
That's the Eaton fire. And there is a world of hurt there. I know that you've gone to the Palisades and you've seen the devastation,
Right.
but it's apocalyptic in Altadena. And thank goodness I have a partner with Supervisor Catherine Barger in working to help people get back to normal and to rebuild. But right now they have nothing. And there have been 9,500 structures burned. Most of the deaths have occurred in our area with the Eaton fire. And thousands of people are without homes. And these are working people. These are working class people. They are people like Dr. Jackie Jacobs, who was an educator all her life and then finally became the first Black administrator of her educational institution, Pasadena City College, and then retired, now 88 years old. And then her home of 30 years burned in Altadena.
Yeah.
She has nothing. She
That's
left
the
without,
point.
with only the clothes on her back. She has nothing. And so they need this help. And I just want to make sure that you remember the people in Altadena and Pasadena, and that you can come there.
I hope he brings
and
up the
see
water.
How
He's playing a
terrible
little
the
soft right
devastation
now.
has been there, so that they can get the help that they need.
Just remember one thing, and
Come
I like
on.
the way you express yourself beautifully, actually. But I've only been here 3 days, and I'll do a great job. But we had another president, and this took place during the life of another president, not me. But I'm going to be the president that's going to help you fix it, because he would not have been able to help you fix it. Okay?
Nope.
So we'll take care of it. We'll take care of it, and
No.
we'll work closely.
Melania,
Yeah, we'll work
Just
closely, and I know your
bad trips,
community
she
was
doesn't even
really
clap.
devastated, incredibly. So we understand that. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, I'm just going to follow up. Supervisor
Yes, please, go
Katzenberger, and I also represent Altadena. And what I tell people is, people of Altadena are the exact people you talked to when you were running. You've got individuals from every walk of life, and it is actually at one time was the only place African Americans could purchase homes. It was redlined, and so you've got a lot of generational wealth there. And one of the commitments I've made, and we've had meetings with some of your people in HUD that you've got there now, to work with them, work with your administration to see how we can help And I've been pleasantly surprised. I know on HUD, we've got some asks that we are going to be working with you on. But more importantly, I just really want to emphasize what Congresswoman Chu said, and that is that these are individuals who are feeling forgotten. And what I tell them is, and when we invited you out,
That's them, not me.
when I went to the AME church, this president was talking to you when he was running. You understand the difficulty in making ends meet. You understand the high cost of living. And now their biggest fear is that that's going to impact their ability to rebuild. And I have made them this commitment because this is my last term, that for the next 4 years, you talk about 18 months, I've told our county staff that if you're going to get in the way, then get another job. Because we are an all hands on deck. And quite frankly, if the bureaucracy can't get out of the way, we'll just roll over it. And we've said that, we've made it clear. The governor's waived CEQA, which I feel should be completely reformed, if not eliminated. And if it's being eliminated for this.
How are they doing with CEQA?
How are they doing?
How is it? What's been the attitude of the people running that whole situation?
It adds sometimes years on to an application.
Can't do it.
No, and the governor's
and Coastal Commission also.
He waived that.
We're going to have to override the Coastal Commission because I've dealt with the Coastal Commission for a long time, and they are considered the most difficult in the entire country.
Wow.
And we cannot have them play their games and wait 10 years to give somebody a permit. In fact, I'm going to override the Coastal Commission. I'm not going to let them get away with their antics. Okay.
Fucking love it.
Thank you.
Permits. The hell out of here.
I just want to thank you for your leadership on California water policy. You made it a priority from day one. For those of us in the Central Valley and Northern California, we have catastrophic wildfires as well. California is a wildfire-prone area, so ensuring reliable, stable water supplies is critical. And so your leadership, your executive order, moving more water, maximizing flows throughout the state of California, building more water storage, more conveyance, coordinating.
It would have a great impact on, I know your area very well. It would have an unbelievable impact on your area.
Absolutely. We just want to thank you for making it a priority.
You know, even beyond the fire stuff, the farms. I was driving up with congressmen a few years ago.
He always tells the
they were
story.
complaining they had no water. And I was driving up, and you'll see all of this incredible land, but it's absolutely bone dry.
It's like a little
and then you'll
speck
see
of
little green
green.
patches. And the green patches are so beautiful. You know, they have that land. They say it's as good as
Iowa.
farmland, but it has no water. And it's artificial, has no water. They send the water out into the Pacific Ocean. And when we let that water come through your valleys and down to Los Angeles and everything, you're going to have a different place. It's going to be a whole different place. And you guys have to get together and say, gee, we want it. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. So at least you said that, and I appreciate it. Because your farmers will be able to, instead of having 1 acre out of 100, which is all they have, they'll be able to have 100 acres out of 100. And it's among the best, they say it's the best farmland just about in the country, as good as any place there is. So, but you can't, it's no good without water. So that's beyond the fire stuff. But today we're talking about fire, but it's good for everything. So I hope you can lead a group. And Daryl, if you can lead a group, I know how you feel. And you know, support what I'm doing, because what I'm doing, I guess, is controversial. I don't know what's controversial about sending millions and millions of gallons of beautiful fresh water from the Pacific Northwest and further up than even that into an area that's bone dry.
I just want to ask real quick. I put in the chat. What do you think is going through Melania's head right now? I can't help but wondering. She's just a statue. That's some best theory. What's going through Melania's head right now? Is she like engaged, or is she thinking about freaking like butterflies and squirrels?
We have to, you know, have a house in Beverly Hills, and you get notices every once in a while. They want you to go down to 38 gallons per person or something, per house, per person. I say, you mean
you
can only
dirty
have,
dogs?
38 gallons sounds like a lot. It's not a lot. And they want to do that every once in a while, and you just think it's ridiculous when you have like just about as much water as anybody in the country, and we shouldn't be in a position where you have tumbleweed that's dry as a bone. That even tumbleweed can be nice and green and rich and loaded up with water, and it's not going to burn. You don't even have to remove it. It's not going to burn, but it's just dry. So I hope you can all get together and say, I'm so happy with the water that's going to be flowing down, because I just don't see anything. They talk about the Delta smelt, which is a fish that's this big, but it is really not, doesn't have to be protected because it's in other areas. It's in numerous other areas. So it doesn't have to be protected. The people of California have to be protected.
Texas woman, you're a woman. You tell us what's going on in Melania's head right now.
Mr. President, can I just speak for a moment?
It could be anything.
Yes. First of all, you're absolutely right about the Coastal Commission. I've introduced legislation to rein them in. We've been talking with Rick about this.
They're out of control.
Absolutely out of control. It's insane.
That's right, Steve.
I think they thrive on it, actually. It's so ridiculous.
That's
like,
right.
how did I get
they even tried to stop
stud?
SpaceX from launching rockets.
It's true.
But you mentioned your predecessor and how he didn't fix the situation, which is absolutely right. Not only that, during the Calder fire, which was a few years ago, which was in my district, 600 people lost their homes in a town called Grizzly Flat. He came and he promised that he would help them out, but he broke that promise many times. He never delivered them the individual assistance they were asking for. So this has underscored for me the importance of helping the victims, making sure in this situation, every fire, we get money for the victims, and we make sure that, that nothing stands in the way of that. But I just want to thank you for your focus on bringing sanity to California, water and fire policy. There's no place that needs a revolution in common sense quite like California.
You have so much water. Use it and be happy about it.
Mr. President,
be happy.
Mr. President, my name is Joel Pollack, and I am a journalist with Breitbart News, but I happen to live in the Pacific Palisades, as do other colleagues. One colleague, John Kahn, wrote the song Fighter, which you played at your campaign rallies. He lost his house and the studio he wrote that song in. We were lucky because I was able to fight the fire on my fence. But when I got to my house, there was no water in the pipes. So I got inside and I picked up the flower vases because I give my wife flowers every week, and there was water there, and we started with that. Then I found my son's bucket of baseballs, and I dumped the baseballs on the ground, and I used the bucket.
You see what I'm saying?
But there was still no water, except for the water in the gutter coming from the burnt homes uphill. So I went to and fro to my gutter and my fence with my bucket. 2 guys showed up in a truck, 2 neighbors. We found 2 more buckets, bucket after bucket after bucket. Many of my neighbors, including some here, tried to fight the fires. They couldn't. We were lucky our house was saved. But we should not have to rely on buckets to put out a fire.
That's right.
You can't stop an 80-mile-per-hour wind or 100-mile-per-hour wind, but there were many things that went wrong here that are basic and small. We did not have traffic police to guide the evacuation, so there was gridlock on Sunset. They've removed the vehicles now, but there were dozens of vehicles that were abandoned by drivers who fled for their lives because there were no traffic cops available. The fire department wasn't pre-deployed, even though there was an extreme wind event coming. And many of my neighbors lost their fire insurance in the days before the blaze. So I asked my neighbors, what would they want to know if I could ask the president a question? And the number one thing was insurance. Can you work with the insurance companies to get people back to where they were before they lost the coverage because of California's regulations? And can you make California change its rules so that when we build again, we can get fire insurance and we don't have to worry? And there's one other point I want to make. I really appreciate my congressman advocating for money. We need the money from the federal government. But I also understand Americans who are tired of spending money on California and disasters happen, and the California government passes $50 million to oppose your policy. So they have $50 million for that. But
Good
moving
point.
people into rental homes or helping people relocate or rebuild. I would like to ask you to follow the 9/11 Commission precedent and appoint a special master to watch the money, to make sure that every federal dollar that gets spent is spent on fire relief and rebuilding and not on everything else.
That didn't go so well, though. Did not follow the 9/11 Commission.
Here's a good one right over here. I don't know if you don't like.
He's very
He was
busy.
ambassador to Germany. He was fantastic. Angela Merkel's happiest day ever in her history, and she had a long history, was the day I removed him from there and put him in charge of a very high level of intelligence and intelligent people, but they were not intelligent enough to fool him. But Rick Grenell has been fantastic, and he lives here. And I don't know if you want to either think about it or recommend some people, or get together and recommend some people as a group, which is fine. But Rick would be somebody that I would certainly consider. And Breitbart is fantastic, by the way. Congratulations on that. And I was so impressed with the firefighters I met before. And they said that, I asked them how many of the pumps, how many of the hydrants were working. And it was a, large percentage of them were not working at all. They had no water. And the ones that did have water didn't have a lot of pressure. And one of the things that was missing, many of you have sprinklers over your living room and your bathroom and your kitchen. I mean, if those sprinklers worked with some pressure, you would have had a much different outcome. So we're going to work on that. I think in terms of that, Rick Grenell would be good, or Rick, you'll head up a group of people that would recommend a few people to me, maybe a commission, set up a commission. I like it because we're talking about a lot of money. The other one is Kelly Loeffler is now the head of small business, and small business is big business. It's actually one of the biggest banks in the world. We call it the Small Business Administration, and she's a cabinet member, full cabinet member. She's fantastic. Her husband is the head of the New York Stock Exchange, so they know something about money and other exchanges. Actually, fantastic people, and she wants to come here almost immediately after she gets approved. She wants to come here and open up small business to the area because they have a lot of money. I always say the small business is actually.
Steph says, Brand, I think she's watching and taking notes about who these people really are. So that's really the question. I'm wondering if she's like tracking, following along, like engaged mentally, like following what's happening, or if she's just like sitting there like like I don't know. I have no idea like what I guess like her intellect is in terms of like policy making and like all this stuff. I don't know. So I'm just super curious about that. Like if she's actually following along or if she's just there like a statue.
Very big business when you add it all up. And she's going to come here, and it's a very important thing. I want to thank also the First Lady, because she wanted to come here. She wanted to be here. She has so many friends, and she also wanted to see North Carolina, because that was another disaster that was so bad, so different, but so bad. And she just wanted to go there. We said, we're going to stop at one, and then we're going to the other.
Yeah, you guys are funny.
In many respects, it was a depressing day, but in many respects, it was a beautiful day because the spirit is so incredible. North Carolina and here. Very, very similar situation.
Filthy.
Different, so different and yet so similar, actually. And so I just thought it was very nice. You wanted to be here.
Yeah, I think it's awesome too.
I appreciate that.
I think it's great.
Jay?
Well, Michelle won't go anywhere. Good freaking point, Texas woman. Like I was thinking in the back of my mind too, why does she keep covering her eyes like that? I mean, maybe it's so that she like we don't know where she's looking. Because they say that what was it that women are more perceptive of when people are lying. Like they used to like have women greet guests in like the Game of Thrones times, to, like see if they were trying to like secretly murder them, or like they'd have them sit in on like negotiations or something to see if they're like somebody's being deceptive on. Was it something like that?
Is that local? You got to. I don't want to be the only one to give you permits like in one day, and then I find out that the cities, the towns, and the state is not going to give you permits. And the problem with permits, it only takes one. You might need 7 different permits. You shouldn't have any at this point. You should just let them
For
build
real.
them. And you're only as good as the weakest one. So if you have one that's going to hold you up, but the others are going to give it to you in 24
I'm right there
hours,
with you, not name.
it's not going to help you very much. So they have to work on
I
that.
agree.
It's what everybody said.
Well, and let me just tell you that we are going to do everything we can, slashing regulations, expediting everything so that people can begin the process right away. We have the Disaster
You're
Recovery
funny.
Center on Pico and Westwood. We have building and safety there. People are already contacting the local agencies. We're bringing our city departments together so that people don't get caught in the loop of going from one room to the next. We want them all to be in the same room so that you can get busy rebuilding ASAP. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And we will clear the lots. Absolutely. In the city and in the county. We are working together. Both levels of government are working in unity.
So full of shit.
Yes.
Six months is no good.
And the number one thing that we are going to do immediately, and you will see this happen, is to clear out the debris. And we're concerned right now over the weekend because of the potential rain, but we are going to move as fast as we can, but we want you to be safe. And we want you to be back in your homes immediately.
But the people are willing to clean out their own debris. It doesn't
Yes,
cost
and
a
they
lot.
can,
You
and
should
they are
let them
able
do
to-
it, because
No, no,
by the
they
time you
can do
hire
that.
contractors, it's
Right.
going to be 2 years.
If a family...
People are willing to get a dumpster and do it themselves and clean it out.
And they can
There's
do
not that much left. It's all incinerated.
That's right.
And, it's just going to take a long time if you do. You can do some of it, but a lot of these people, I know that guy right there that's talking. I know my people. You'll be on that thing tonight, throwing the stuff away, and your site it'll look perfect within 24 hours. And that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to wait around for 7 months till the city hires some demolition contract. And that's going to charge him $25,000 to do his lot. I think you have emergency powers just like I do, and I'm exercising my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
I did exercise them.
Because
signed an
you have a very
emergency
powerful
declaration.
emergency power, and you
Yes.
can do everything within 24 hours.
Yes. And if individuals want to clear out their property, they can.
That's not what you're saying though.
Well, yes, but you know that you will be able to go back soon. We think within a week.
It's a long time.
That's a long time, a week. I'll be honest. To me, everyone's standing in front of their house. They want to go to work, and they're not allowed to do it.
And the most important
week
thing
is
is
a
for
long
people
time.
to be safe.
They're safe. They're safe. You know what? They're not safe. They're not safe now. They're going to be much safer. A week is actually a long time, the way I look at it. I watched.
So just to be clear, she's saying that people are not allowed to go start cleaning up the debris around their incinerated house right now because it's too dangerous because of the debris that's around. He's saying, they're fucking adults. Let them do what they want. Like, it's not going to be different a week from now than it is today.
Hundreds of people standing in front of their lots, and they're not allowed to go in. It's all burned. It's gone. It's done. Nothing's going to happen to it. It's not going to burn anymore. There's nothing to burn. There's almost nothing to burn. And they want to go in. The people are all over the place. They're standing, and I say, why aren't you going in? We're trying to get a permit. And the permit's going to take them, everybody said 18 months. You said 18
Unbelievable.
months. You said 18 months.
Last night.
And that was last night.
On that.
Unbelievable.
Right.
Yesterday.
Mr. President, we're going to be together next week, and during the interim, many of us are involved in, and Tom McClintock, who you know has been an expert on this for years,
right.
We are going to be putting conditions on the money that do two things: require that it be done timely and affordable, and then secondly, that we protect those who will come afterwards. As we speak, there are 6,000 acres burning in my district on the Mexican border. There will be more fires until we include in any disaster relief items which will prevent it or at least mitigate it from happening again. So you're going to see us proposing both of those.
Like water.
We're
Things
gonna
like
do
water.
that for
You
them.
know, the party of common sense. See, we're the party of common sense. You're not, in all fairness.
Yes, sir.
We like water to put out fires. It's really quite efficient. All right.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I'm Jay Obernolte. My district is just a bit east of here.
Yep.
And you were talking about the need to better manage our forests and our wildlands to prevent this from happening again. And you were so right about that. Just last year, a couple months ago in October, they put out a fire. The line fire in my district was over twice as big as the Palisades fire. And they put it out less than a mile from my house in an area where we had done thinning. And they stopped the fire, Mr. President, on a fire break that we had built a couple of years ago.
Boom.
We have an area just on the other side of my community that hasn't been thinned in decades because it's being held up by a lawsuit from an environmental group that says we're going to reduce habitat. Mr.
Of
President,
course.
we need to,
Of course
in
it
addition to
is.
getting resources
It's
and boots
fucking
on the ground to do this
eco-terrorists.
treatment, we need to reform our legal system to prevent these lawsuits from tying up these projects for years and years and years. And
Great
not to say that
point.
the merit shouldn't be heard, but we need to hear them and we need to move on, resolve them.
Is this a state group? State or federal group?
This is a local group, actually, Mr. President, but they have help from the state.
They use the environment to make themselves feel good, and they're destroying our country. And you've got to, at some point, you've got to put your foot down. I know exactly what you're talking. You have local and state groups, and you have federal groups too. And you got to fight them the right way, because you'll never, even if the mayor gives, you're going to have a local group come in and sue. You're not allowed to go on your property. They're going to talk about asbestos and every other thing. They want to go on their property, and they want to clean out their property. And you cannot let anything get in their way. And you'll have this place built up quickly, beautiful. It'll be more beautiful than before. And I would do one other thing. I'd give them a 10%, 15% bonus on their house, because they went through hell. And they should be allowed to build a little bit, give them a little bit lot line bonus, give them a bonus on size, maybe a little bonus on height. They went through hell. You know, some of them had houses where they were restricted. They have to have an 8-foot ceiling. You let them have a 10-foot ceiling. Let them build a nice house, a nicer house than they had before.
Who
But
the
I would
hell
give them a 10 or a 15% bonus
restricts ceiling
on
height, by
their
the way?
plans. And I think it would be very well received, because they'll be able to build a little bit nicer house. Do you like that idea, by the way? They deserve it, because you know what? It's not their fault that this fire took place. This fire took place, could have been stopped. It's not their fault. It's not the homeowner's fault. And I think they should be entitled to a bonus on their house. Okay.
Mr. President.
Sir, go ahead.
Thank you. Some good news from Paradise. We stood together there 6 years ago, along with the governor.
That was so
That 3,400 homes have been rebuilt out of the 18,000 lost, and there's 400 more in the wings. And so FEMA was very helpful. Now my colleague who has Altadena here, probably a very similar situation. Clearing the lots, they're probably going to have to clear about a foot worth of soil underneath those foundations to get the toxicity out. So they'll need a lot of help. Those are working class folks in Altadena.
And we did a good job with you
And
people.
FEMA was extremely helpful.
Yep.
30,000.
That was the old days when FEMA was good. FEMA's no good anymore. That was when we ran it.
That's
FEMA
funny,
was very
Jane.
good, but now FEMA's not good.
We've got to get them on track. But on the water, thanks so much for your strong efforts on that. So right now, Lake Shasta, which is my district, is dumping more water than what is coming in. So is Folsom Lake. And those are federal projects that should be building up, because we're latter January here. And you can't count on the rain and the snow coming every year. And so if we don't fill those projects, then my colleague in San Joaquin Valley isn't going to get his water for his farmers. Well, it might be all right up in the north. They aren't going to get it. And then the water needs to go through aqueduct for Southern Cal to refill maybe the San Ynez Reservoir that was empty during this.
You know, you don't even need reservoirs. With the water coming down, you don't need the reservoir. You have so much water, you don't need it. You only have reservoirs because you're trying to hold water. but you have natural water coming down along the coast. It's for a million years it's been coming. You know that, right?
Yeah.
In addition to that, you have a lot of half pipe. In other words, you have the half pipe that's built, and it hasn't been used. You see, it's bone dry. No water's been in that half pipe for years and years. It was closed up years ago.
Had the reservoir,
It's already
sorry.
there. Yeah.
Had
You
the
got it, you
reservoir
got it.
above Palisades been full, they wouldn't have run out of water in a few hours. It would have gone for at least a few days with 40 acre feet out of 600,000.
That reservoir's been empty for a long time.
Yep.
It shouldn't have been empty. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, please.
Mr. President, my name is Tracy Park. I represent the people of the Pacific Palisades on the LA City Council. I wanted to thank you for your loyal support to our military, our police officers, and especially our firefighters.
Nope, no Newsom there. Great point. I wonder what the fuck he could be doing.
My top priority going forward is to get these men and women home as soon as possible and open up the pathway to begin their rebuilding process. It was the Army Corps of Engineers who announced last night that it would be 18 months. I am fully committed to doing my part on the ground with our state agencies and our city and our county partners to speed this up. I just ask for your ongoing partnership with FEMA and the EPA and our other federal agencies to make sure that we have a commitment across all layers of government to get these people back home. Thank you, sir.
I do. Thank you very much. It's well said. I do have to say FEMA is a big disappointment. We had it working well. We had great people, but FEMA's not good anymore. What FEMA did in North Carolina, you know, they still haven't even gone to certain areas. They don't know what they're doing. And
100%.
I say, you don't need FEMA. You need a good state government. And when you have a problem in Los Angeles, or when you have a problem even in the state of California, you have your own, essentially FEMA. You fix it yourself. You don't have somebody coming in from a state where they have no idea, like Florida. They come in from hurricanes. They have people staying in Alaska.
Good
And now
point.
they see, oh, this is very nice. But by the time they get familiar with it, they don't know anything. The FEMA is a very expensive, in my opinion, mostly failed situation. We had great people. We did some great jobs, but each state should take care of their problem and get money from the federal government. It would be so much better, so much more efficient. So we're looking at that because we have had, and you're going to have problems with FEMA too. You've already had problems with FEMA. FEMA doesn't even show up. It takes weeks before they even show up. And what happens is the state then relies on FEMA and nobody does anything because FEMA doesn't show up. So it's not a good situation. So we'll make some recommendations on that. But you have to push like hell to get the permits because I'm just hearing things that I don't like to hear. I think you're not going to get your permits as fast as people are saying. We have to get them. And Mayor, if I can help you at all in that regard, you'll let me know. But you're going to have all your federal permits. That's going to be the easy part, which, by the way, is by far the hardest part. You know who controls your water is Department of Commerce. And I already have that approval. And that's usually a very long process. But that's the hard part was the federal. But we already have that done. So anything I can do, please let me know. Please, go ahead.
Are getting the schools, the rec center, the libraries all rebuilt. And whatever federal support and whatever support we can get from you, working with the local.
You lost all your schools.
We lost all our schools.
You lost four. You lost your 4 schools.
4 schools, rec center, sports fields, library, and as you saw, this is an incredible community of families. And our kids, that's what they did all day, was go to school, go to the rec center, go to the library. Like, we don't have any of that. So we could all rebuild our homes, which is great, but if none of that infrastructure is here, then it's not the same community. So we need those
Were they
areas.
completely burned down, the schools?
Yeah, completely. Most of them.
All
yeah.
of them? All of them?
Pretty much all of them, yeah. Palisades Elementary, which a number of our kids all go to, I mean, the place is basically destroyed. So we can't wait 5 years for that to be rebuilt because we can't live there if there's no schools. So that's an area where we would love your help and support. I'd love the idea of having some, local council that can use those federal dollars, implement them quickly into rebuilding those areas.
Well, I'm going to ask Rick to set, I think right from this table. You might put a couple of the fire guys back there on that I just met, okay? Because they're really good. But get a group and figure out how we can do the processing faster.
Mr. President, if I can just defend FEMA a little bit.
Yeah.
They brought thousands of people in. I don't know how they're doing in
Oh,
other
this
states. They're doing a
fucking
good
guy.
job for us here.
There literally was a story that came out about FEMA where they were avoiding houses that had a Trump sign in front of it in North Carolina. Don't jump in here to defend FEMA. I forget what this guy's name is. He is one of the slimiest, nastiest guys. By the way, yeah, no, you guys are Texas woman, Steffi, you're talking about the insurance companies dropping the certain policies months before the thing. Yeah, it's super sketchy. Like, I mean, I think it's just because they knew this was bound to happen because, they're super math oriented, super, data orientated. Like, they see everything. They look at everything. They have drones and shit. They're looking if the state's running things well. They notice when the state stops doing controlled burns, when they what's happening with the water. They know exactly what's happening with the water. So I think they were just ahead of this. That's why the insurance prices went from like $4,000 per year to $18,000 per year in some cases.
They've got a huge center that's open from 9 in the morning till 8 at night. But also, when you have a disaster this size, you need to be able to deploy thousands of people, which they've been able to do. Now, California, if we did it on our own, maybe we'd have thousands of people.
You do.
But if Rhode Island has a Palisades disaster, are they then supposed to keep?
How many people do you have in California? 36? How many million? How many million people do you have?
But
you have 40 million people. You're not going to get a few thousand people. The problem with FEMA is they come from all over the country. They end up in arguments with your people from California because they want to do it a totally different way. And I can live either way, but you haven't gotten very much done with FEMA and all you have to do is look at North Carolina. It's one of the great disasters of all time.
And Mr. President, you can't have Rhode Island maintain a staff of thousands and thousands of people waiting to see if they have a disaster.
You know who came in and fixed North Carolina or the process? Other states, people from all over the country came. And you have the same thing. You have a lot of people from all over the country. Getting the people is not a problem. Getting the organization is a big problem. FEMA's incompetently run, and it costs about 3 times more than it should cost.
I'm hoping
we can spend money on schools instead of giving money to bureaucracy. It takes you so much longer.
Mr. President,
It takes you so much longer
for helping our people.
FEMA has a standard, Brad, and I'm a builder. I was a very good builder. FEMA has a standard that's so slow. They want permit on permit on permit, and then they want permits on top of that. If you use FEMA, you'll be here for a long time. What I'm saying is get the city, get the state to give you immediate 24-hour permits. These people are going to build their own homes. They're going to get them built fast. How many of the people, could I ask you one question? How many of the people, what are people going to do for financing? What are people going to do? How many people can build a home, percentage-wise, like where they don't have to go out and get funds? Some people are just not going to be able to rebuild their home.
Barely
They have
any.
a beautiful home, but they don't have cash, right? So what are people looking to do in that case? You're going to have a big percentage, I would assume, Brad, like that. What are they going to do? Go ahead.
Mr. President, without your help, they're only going to get $43,000 from the federal government.
Without your help. Hear what you just said?
You did something, Brad, with every insurance company in the country left California. That's why you have no insurance, because you made it so impossible. People that think like you made it so impossible. And
Brad,
every
Mr.
insurance
President,
company.
I don't know what
I'll
you
tell you
know
this,
about my thinking.
I've never seen a state where almost nobody has insurance. And I said, what happened? And they said like 6 months ago, they all left. And 2 years ago, they had different, quadrants, but they left. And you have very little insurance here. I mean, I've never seen anything like it.
We had a lot of insurance companies pull out, but I have no
And the
idea.
insurance companies actually have been warning you. Now, I'm not a big fan of insurance companies, okay? They have their big drawbacks too, but the insurance company I read the papers very well, and they've been warning California for a long time. They've also been saying, we want water. You don't have water. You're supposed to get fire insurance. And the insurance company goes, you don't have any water in your fire hydrants.
That's what I just
So
said.
it's a tough situation. I'm not a big fan of insurance companies. I get that.
They're pulling out of Florida
Brad,
as
you
well.
lost your insurance company 6 months ago because the state wouldn't give them what they had to have.
Yeah. And Mr. President, I remember the
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
I'm Ed Ring from the California Policy Center, and in the matter of prevention of fires, in the matter of the cost of rebuilding, both of which affect insurance rates, I think one, to support something one of the other participants said, a reform you might consider, and it could be an act of Congress, is that the losers in environmentalist lawsuits pays the legal fees. And I think that would be a big step in the right direction.
Oh, you mean loser pays? I love that. Well, if you did loser pays, you could cut your courts in about you could cut them down about 90%. Loser pays. You know what would also benefit? Medical. If you had loser pays for medical, your medical costs would go down by 50%. That's an interesting thing. I bring that up, but the only problem, the strongest lobby in the world, you know what it is? The lawyer lobby.
Interesting.
When you go back to your local congressman,
Makes sense, though.
Congressman, how about going against the lawyers for a little while? No, loser pay is, very good. In Europe, they use it in certain parts of Europe, and they have very little litigations, right? Yes, please.
Interesting.
Mr. President, I represent the 27th Congressional District, which is on the north side of the North San Fernando Valley through Santa Clarita and Lancaster and Palmdale. I just wanted to tell you a story of heroism. Yesterday, we had another big fire. We had several big fires across, and this fire was moving fast. It was moving 1,000 feet per minute. But what these heroes did, the firefighters and the sheriffs and the law enforcement officials, they mobilized 4,000 people within about 6 hours. They mobilized 20 air attack aircraft and helicopters, and they saved the city of Castaic. And so I just wanted to ask you to join us in recognizing those folks
here,
Yep,
right?
that's right.
And your words about building quickly, building well, but building quickly is what I think we are all here to do. And I think if we can take that spirit out of today, it is really important that you put them back on their feet and recreate
too
these
positive.
amazing communities.
You don't give the permits. You're going to take such a great word, such an important word. You'll take their guts away. You'll take their spirit away if you don't give the permits. You're going to take their guts. They're going to say, oh, all of a sudden they'll start looking for houses and your whole thing is going to blow up on you. These people want to get going. This place can go quickly, but you don't want to take their spirit away, and that will take their spirit away. So you're 100% right. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Treasuries are 4%.
Right.
They're expanding their net interest margin on the back of fire victims. Could you please, just like you talked to the CEO of Bank of America.
Oh, you noticed that. Oh, look at this.
Oh, yeah.
He said, no, Bank of America, they're not nice. Sounds very nice. The Bank of America, they're not nice.
Would you please tell the banks to pay us Treasury for the money that the insurance sets aside?
Smart guy over there.
Banks, yeah. We're doing it. Is that Leonard Boxer next to you? Leonard? Huh? We have Leonard. We have, oh, there's Skip. I have them all here, huh?
Nah.
Look at Skip. I haven't seen you in a long time. You used to be a very good golfer. You still a good golfer? Huh? And he's a good guy, too. Hi, Skip. You got them all, huh? Leonard, Skip. Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, I just wanted to say Paradise is coming back because of the help that you gave us. And we really want to thank you for that. And that's why we're here also.
Many people were found, and only the certain type of German Shepherd could even find it, right? You could not tell. The dog would go right up. There's the body. And the incineration was so horrible. So horrible.
And when we see the same devastation.
So Paradise is going good, right?
It's going good. We're coming back.
Yeah,
it's because of the help, and we want to help our brothers and sisters here in LA to come back too. And I know that's what you're going to do. And so we really appreciate that. But from Paradise to the Palisades, the problem is fuel. It's the fuel, the vegetation, the dry grasses, the chaparral. There's a tremendous amount of it, and we're not.
You got to remove it. You got to remove it, and you got to remove it, and you got to do the other things that we've said 10 times. I mean, you got to remove it. You just can't have it. I see it even now. I saw the fire. We flew over it, and you got a lot of dry stuff. It's bone dry.
And the environmental.
And I predicted this 7 years ago. I said, do it, get it done. And everybody laughed. They thought it was. I said, forest management. They thought it was such a funny term. Ha ha ha. That's so funny. Now it's not funny anymore. We were right.
It's number one cause of these fires. Number one cause.
You wouldn't have any fires.
Right. And if we just remove those environmental regulations, NEPA, CEQA at the state level, they get in the way of us doing those projects.
It's all a con job, that, right?
Thank you, Steve.
Berry Creek, the town of Berry Creek in my district, CEQA stopped them from doing a fuel reduction project. They said 18 months. That's where 18 months comes from, because at least 18 months on a CEQA review. That
Steve, I
community is no
freaking
longer
love
here
you.
today because of the North Complex fire. We didn't
You're
build
the
that
man.
project. We need to make sure that never happens again. We have to stop those things from happening so we don't have.
Well, it will happen here.
Palisades.
Unless you're very strong as a group of people and demand that you have the right to go onto your property and start the process immediately, like tomorrow.
Yes.
How many people did I see on your street where they're standing in front of their lot? The house there's really not much demolition. It's incinerated, right? So it's not like a lot of stuff. It's not like you have 3 stories worth of concrete. It's all incinerated. And all of the people were standing there and they weren't allowed to even go onto their lot. You got to let them do. If you can do that, you're going to see this thing go like wildfire. And if you don't, you're gonna have those lots for years because people are gonna leave. They're gonna, as much as you love your location and your place,
Right back at
you're
you,
in the real
Texas
estate
woman.
business. As much as you love your location and your site, your housing sites, they're gonna leave. They're gonna leave. They're gonna find other things. They're not gonna put up with it. They have spirit now, but in a year from now, they won't have spirit if you don't let them go. So just harness it. Well, I think. Look, I'm going to give you everything you want. I'm going to give you more than any president would have ever given you. If most presidents wouldn't be here, number one, they certainly wouldn't be here after 3 days.
Mhm.
They would not be here. I can tell you that. And we're going to override all of permitting. The only thing you have to do is get your state people, which should be very easy because that's literally so easy to do. And I know the mayor, and I know she's working very hard, but she's got very powerful emergency. It's called an emergency petition. And you can petition very quickly. And I just hope you can give them, because it's very rare that the federal government would be ahead of the state government, because the federal permits are much tougher. But you essentially already have your permits. You can just go and go wild. Brad, as soon as you can get those permits, whatever you can do, if you can put that genius of yours to work on getting a permit, you'll be doing much better than some of the other things you've said, okay?
Nah.
But we do appreciate you. So, Mayor, could I just leave you with that? it's a big permitting deal. We're going to be back, and I'm going to put Rick in charge of just representing me for a period of time until we figure out exactly who we want to do it, whether we want a commission or an individual. You know, if you have a good individual, if you have a really good individual, and they are rare, but if you have a really good individual, it's always better than a commission, because the commission gets bogged down a little bit, Daryl, right? So it's if you had the right individual, and I know we do. We have a lot of great individuals in this community, but it's an honor to be with you. It was an honor to be with your firemen before and your policemen. We met some great people.
All right, look at that beautiful freaking message. I mean, guy's amazing. California, even though they didn't vote for him, they should be thanking their lucky stars he's in there right now. Because, like, how long would it have taken Kamala to get there? Even though it's her home state, I guarantee you she wouldn't have been there for a month. And to all you guys who are saying to like and subscribe and share, thank you so much for that. Texas Woman says, sorry, glad I found this channel. Glad you found this channel. You guys are awesome. Love hanging out every night. Texas Woman, you're the best. Steph, you're the best. Steve, you're the best. All you guys that are here every single night, love it. This thing's going to be huge. We're growing fast, but, you know, I'm going to be nostalgic about these times where, you know, it's easy to see everybody in the chat, you know, because, like, this is the smallest this thing will ever be. So these are, like, the more intimate and personal times where we get to, like, really get to know each other, you know, because once this thing gets to, like, 5,000-10,000 people watching live, the thing's like, and you can't even read the comments. So I'm enjoying every moment of this. But you guys are the best. Thank you. I'm going to go work out and get some errands done. But we'll talk tomorrow, and I'll give you the full rundown again. If you guys want to join the Telegram community, the link is in the description below, the Forbidden Book Society. We've got some cool stuff coming out with that. So join in there, part of the community, and I'll see you guys soon. Oh, and if you want to chat one-on-one, hit me up on Minnect. And what else was I going to say? Yeah, hit me up on Minnect if you guys want to chat one-on-one, if you have any questions or want to go deep on anything. But aside from that, like, subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow. Much love. Good night. You know, we talk about the deep state. We talk about the globalists. Inflation versus deflation. Well, I mean, you're at Mar-a-Lago. I'm baffled that this isn't front page news.
Do you guys support a specific political party, or do you dislike both of them?
Oh, it worked like a charm on you guys.
Let's go, Brandon.